Hey, Ryobi fanatics! It's Monday Night Football, and while I wait for kickoff, I'm going to try and get this old 4-volt tool up and running again. So I acquired this a while back, and I've been procrastinating. It has a battery cell that's completely just gone. In fact, when you hook the charger up to it, that little red light won't even come on. So that tells me it needs a new cell. Now the model number of this is actually R4SD. I haven't seen a whole lot of these in the US. This one I actually had imported from eBay, the UK. Got a really good deal on it too, so that's why I jumped on it. It is not part of the new 4-volt USB lithium line. This is a pretty darn old one, but nevertheless, it's got a definite cool factor to it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to replace the battery cell, which is a 4-volt, with this battery cell. The model number of this battery cell is 18650, in case you ever want to go and get some cells for yourself. And this is the same cells that you would actually find in the Ryobi 18-volt and also the 40-volt batteries as well. Obviously, you can get them with different hour amperage, 2 amp hours, 3 amp hours, and so on. Yeah, so it's kind of cool to know that you can use the same battery cell on all the tools, the 4-volt, 18, and so on. So I'm going to take a crack at this, and you're not going to hear me talk most of the time, because as soon as I get started, I'm just going to let the camera roll, and you can watch what I'm doing. But if you do have any questions, feel free to put any questions that you may have after the video in the comments, and I'll be happy to go ahead and answer anything I can. And hey, give me a break on my soldering skills. I suck at soldering. I try, but yeah, so you may, squint a little bit or kind of get nervous when you see my soldering skills, but at the end, it worked, and if I can do it, I know you can do it also. So let's give it a try. Here's the battery. And one of the things I like to do is after I break open a tool, I like to take a picture of it. Here one actually, so I can make sure I put all the wires and everything and the wires are routed back to the same spot. one of the things I like to do is really make sure I mark what side's positive and what side is negative, because it's really small, and while I'm working on there it can be a little bit difficult. So what I'm going to do is mark it with a Sharpie here, and now I won't have to worry about it. So I successfully got the battery cell all swapped out here, and so now we have two tests. Test number one is plug in a charger, and if the little red light goes on, that's a good indication that the battery cell was a complete success. The battery cell swap was a complete success. And I'll even try to go ahead and see if it actually goes on and works. Second, I'm gonna let the tool charge overnight, and if it can hold a charge after an overnight session of it, then I will consider this a 100% full success battery swap. So let's plug it in. Got my charger hooked up here, plugs into the bottom, and here we go. It lit up. Here, watch. Yeah, so that's a really good indication. Now let's see if it'll actually run, even though the battery hasn't been charged. Yeah. Put it in reverse. Got a nice little LED light right there. All right. Really good indication. All right, so the next thing is just let it charge overnight, but I feel pretty good about it. So I'm just gonna go ahead and be preemptive and say this was a success. But In case you want to know if it did hold a charge, just leave the question in the comments, and I'll put a yes or no. But I think chances are pretty good. Anyhow, thanks for watching, and I got a couple more tools later down the road I'll be fixing too. I have this 4-volt, and I got this 4-volt. Both have completely dead cells in them too, and I'll be someday, whenever I get some time, I'll be swapping these out as well. So stay tuned for those. Thanks for watching. So I just want to add an extra minute or two on informing all of you some of the challenges I actually had. I had really two great challenges, and of course you didn't see it in the video because I cut it out. But the first one is not having a third hand. This is one of those type of tasks where because the wires are so small and all the parts kind of move around a lot, and you got to have a really malleable situation where when you're using a soldering gun, things move, and heat rises, and the melted flux will go down, and so it's all these variables makes it really tough. But I know that if I had a third hand, I had a little helper, I could definitely have been able to get the job done a lot faster. Maybe some of you who have a greater skill set when it comes to soldering can give me some tips on a small task like that. I'd love to hear it. Because you need one hand to hold the battery, need one hand to hold the soldering gun, and then another hand to hold the flux. So I only got two hands. I was only born that way, but that was one. So the other challenge was, I don't know if you noticed it or not towards the end, but and I cut most of it out of the video, but I have a hard time being able to get the contacts to stick to this. So and again, it could be my lack of skill being able to solder properly, but I had a huge challenge trying to do that. Eventually I got it, and I moved on. One of the things that I want to mention is that you did see me put a plus sign with a Sharpie and a negative sign on that. Probably wondering, well, why? Most batteries, like a D battery, AA, AAA, all the batteries you're familiar with, you can tell by each end what side is the positive and negative by just looking at it. The positive usually always has a little hump. The negative always has a little indentation. Well, not on these. It may be shaped like a AA battery, but take a look at the sides. It's flat, both sides. You can't really tell. Fortunately, it does tell you right there, positive and negative, but it's so tiny, and when you're got everything twisted around, you may not be able to see underneath while you're working. So that's why I get a big Sharpie and I write a plus and a negative on it, so I can quickly identify the correct end. So anyhow, those are some of my challenges. Again, those who have a higher skill set soldering, please let me know. Give me your tips. Put them in the comments. I'd like to learn. I'll watch some YouTube videos to perfect the skill a little bit more. Anyhow, that's it for now. Thanks.